Hi everyone, how are you doing? I came here today to talk about this book, The Tenant of Wildfell by Bontrë. I just finished reading it and wow, it's way more intense and powerful than I expected. It's one of those books that makes you stop and think, especially about how women were treated in the past. So basically, the story is about this woman, Helen Graham, who moves into a quiet old house with her little boy. But everyone in the village is super curious about her because she's really private and mysterious. But little by little, we find out that she's actually running away from a horrible marriage. Her husband is this rich, selfish guy who drinks too much, parties a lot or parties all the time, and treats her terribly. And what is even worse is that back then, women had almost no rights. She couldn't divorce him, couldn't take her child, and society basically expected her to just deal with it. But Helen doesn't. She leaves. And that's what makes her so amazing. She decides she won't let her son grow up around that kind of behavior, and she stands up for herself even though it's super risky. She knows people will judge her, but she still chooses her dignity and her child's future. That takes real courage. The story is told in this really cool way. Part of it comes from a guy named Gilbert who meets Helen and is curious about her. And then it switches to Helen's diary where she tells everything about her life, her marriage, and why she left. You really get into Helen's head and feel what she went through. The thing is, even though this book was written in the 1800s, so much of it still hits home today. It talks about abusive relationships, addiction, standing up for yourself, and raising kids with strong values. Helen is so strong, is just so strong and smart, and honestly, kind of ahead of her time. Annie Bontrë was super brave to write a story like that back then. People were shocked by it, and including her own sister. But now we see how important it was. And in the end, it's a story about fighting for your freedom, even when no one else is on your side. It's about being true to your values and doing what's right, even when it's hard. I really loved it, and I think if you're into books about strong women and deep emotions, this one will stick with you for a long time. I hope you liked the video and see you next time. Bye-bye.